What's up, everyone? It is Denise Salcedo. Welcome back to the channel. I am very excited to introduce to you my guest for today. We have none other than Impact Wrestling's very own Havok. What's up?
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
I love your setup, by the way, like Havok's hangout. That is so cool.
Thank you. I stream on Twitch during the week, and so this is kind of my office/streaming setup.
How long have you been streaming on Twitch for now?
For about 5 years, actually. And
Oh my
a
God.
lot of people didn't know that. But with COVID and everything happening over the last couple years, it's been almost 2 years now. A lot more wrestlers have joined the platform, and I've helped a few out just trying to get started. And then through that, fans are like, "Wait, you stream?" I'm like, "Yeah, forever." So
You're like, I was ahead of the curve. I was here before everybody joins, because it's now everybody's like, oh, I got a Twitch, I got a YouTube, I got a TikTok, and you're like, I was doing all of these things beforehand.
Yes.
So that's really cool that you're like ahead of the curve.
Thank you.
So, like obviously everything's been different. The world has been different. I do kind of want to touch a little bit on how like you've been utilizing that, now the fact that we've had, obviously things are opening up more now, but we did have a little downtime, for a while there. How did you utilize that time?
So, being that I have been streaming so long, that's definitely one of the things that I would use to like I can't see my fans at shows. So I can connect with them, on Twitch, and I play a lot of video games. I do a lot of survivor horror titles, and so I do a lot of Resident Evil. That's my favorite series, and like Fallout and stuff. But one thing that a lot of people say about my streams is they're like, you're so attentive to your chat and you talk to us and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, isn't that the point of this? But definitely a lot more streaming, and just not being able to, go to the salon and get my hair done and things like that. I've definitely taught myself how to apply my own hair extensions. I learned how to do tape ins on my own, and just all these other different techniques and stuff like that we, things that I do for myself to make myself feel good, and to get ready for TV tapings and things like that too. And then I kind of taught myself how to I've been working on a lot of cosplay outfits for different special streams and stuff that I've done. And I'm actually, the last 2 ring jackets that I've had, I made myself, because I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I've just been trying to constantly keep busy and try to learn different creative things that maybe won't bore me as quickly. And also watching a lot of Netflix, a lot of Lucifer.
Yeah. Lucifer, I've heard so much good stuff about that show.
It's a really good show. I'm addicted to it. So I unfortunately have been binge watched every episode though. So I'm looking for new stuff.
That's how it always is. It's like you start one thing, you finish that, you got to jump into the new stuff. But I love the fact that you took the time to learn all of this stuff. Even just the extensions that you were talking about, I was like, oh my God, that requires a lot of patience to go and learn something like that. Because us women, during the closure of the salons, I mean, we were kind of screwed.
Oh yeah. I was so stressed out. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but anytime you see on Impact, when I had the black and green hair and right now I've been doing a lot of the fire ombre. I dye all of the hair. I order the hair online. I color it all myself, and I put it in my head and make sure it stays.
Oh my God. Fabulous. Yeah. And make sure even while you're wrestling too, it's not like you're not just hoping it stays for the work day at the office. No, you're going to be, getting some bumps and bruises along the way during all of that.
Oh yeah.
So Havok, let's get into the wrestling portion of this interview. You've been wrestling for well over a decade now. And for someone that has been in the industry for so long and kind of just seeing the evolution of the business and how things have changed, focusing in, on women's wrestling and everything that has changed over the years. What has the difference been like since day one when you started to now.
So when I first started, that was in 2003. I was the only girl that was training at the time. There were 29 of us, and I was the only girl. And I was very naive to the fact that they were extra hard on me because they wanted me to quit. Now, the reason for that being, which I found out later, not only did I find out later that they were trying to get me to quit, I found out the reason why was they're like, well, girls are just trouble. They're drama, this and that. Like, we don't want to deal with it. But I'm over here like, oh, my mouth's busted open again. Guess that's wrestling. And it's like, no, it's really not. But I eventually showed my trainer through just working hard and, doing everything that I could the best that I could. I think he saw something in me, and, the rest is history. But I would say, especially when I first started compared to now, like, to give you kind of a structure of how things were, it was like when I was watching wrestling and before I started training, I was watching some of my favorite women on TV having to do bra and panties matches and wrestle in pudding on WWF. And I think I would go as far as to say that women's wrestling wasn't taken near as seriously back then as it has been these last several years. When I first started, it was still kind of, girls were just kind of looked at as like, I remember my trainer telling me, like, you're going to have to tan, you're going to have to be blonde, you're going to have to put your boobs out, you're going to have to do all this stuff. And I was like devastated because I've always been like an alternative, like gothy type, punk rock, whatever. Like, I've been
That's who you are.
Yeah. And like, it was just like, man, I don't, that's just not me. And for the first few years of my career, I felt very uncomfortable. Just, looking the way I did, like, I was just like, this just isn't me. So, it was about 4 or 5 years in or so, that I decided that I was going to take the reins on what I wanted to be as far as my look and my character. And I just kind of took inspiration from some of my favorite video games. I've played video games ever since I could remember. And I was like, I really want to do this. And I started wearing a gas mask for my entrances, and I started being all dark. And like, even though I looked a lot different than a lot of the other girls, I was the one that was standing out at shows. So basically, I like, to other fans, like they see my opponent come out, and then they see this dark, mysterious girl come out with this mask and stuff. And kids were drawn to me because they were like, you look like a superhero and all this stuff. And I always loved that. And like, whether I was a bad guy or a good guy, I was the one that had the line at my merch table during intermission and stuff, because they were like, this girl is different. She's so cool. But I feel like especially a lot earlier on in my career, because of what society was like, well, you need to look at this mold. Like, this is the mold that every, girl needs to fit, this and that. Well, it's unrealistic. And I think that I stood out for reasons like, maybe there's young ladies and boys out there that were like, oh, I look like she does, and she's out here doing this, and, whatever. And like, it kind of gives them hope. And I've had countless messages, of people like telling me like, you've helped me so much. You've shown me that you don't have to look a certain way, this and that. And those types of things make me feel really good too. But to see where women's wrestling, how far it's come since I started, I couldn't be happier, because I love pro wrestling, but women's wrestling is my passion. And to see all the different stages pop up and platforms for women to go and show everybody what they can do, that we could be just as good as the guys, and we could put just as many fans in seats as the guys do. I think it speaks volumes for how far we've come, and I couldn't be happier.
And it's crazy too, because even then there's been such an evolution. Obviously, we're no longer doing the bra and panties matches, none of that type of
Yes.
stuff. But even then, like it still feels like there has been so much effort put into women's wrestling. Impact Wrestling has always been ahead of the curve when it comes to that. But even so, it still feels like there is still, a ways to continue working at it.
Yeah.
And even then, like even though now, I feel like different, bodies and styles and looks are more accepted in the business, it still very much is, do you still feel that like that not pressure, but do you still feel the need to have to like be this, not like this Barbie type of female, but to at least be a certain version of that?
I think that, okay, so wrestling is very interesting in the sense that there are a lot more women's looks and body types are accepted. And I am so happy. But what people don't seem to remember is that wrestling is still very much a cosmetic business. So if you're going to be, and I think for me especially, and this might be a little controversial, I don't know, but my whole thing is me being a bigger girl, and wrestling and doing all these things, that just trying to inspire other girls who might be a little thicker or heavier set than the typical what you would picture in your head as a female wrestler. I feel the added pressure to make sure that my hair is on point, that my makeup looks good, and I still want to look even as like a monster role, like like the role that I have in wrestling. I still need to look a certain way to present this company. Like it's just being professional. And I guess I'm trying to word it in a way that it's like, I'm not saying that every girl, you have to wear makeup to be pretty. That's
Right.
not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, particularly for myself, I put this extra pressure on because I am a bigger girl, and I've been struggling with my weight for several years, and a lot of it is because of things that wrestling fans and other wrestlers have said to me in the past. And like it has kind of hurt my mental health a little bit, but I've over the years learned how to deal with things and make it so that I can just ignore the negative and focus on myself and focus on the positive and the people who support me. In no way, shape, or form am I promoting that obesity is healthy. I'm a stern believer in you should love who you are as a person, but you owe it to yourself to be the healthiest you, because you deserve that, And even though I'm a bigger girl, even at my most lean, I'm still bigger than all the other girls by comparison, because I'm basically 6 foot. And even when I'm lean, like I still have big legs and I still have a big butt and things like that. But that's just my body. Everybody's body's different.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that it's important for people to recognize, hey, I'm not supposed to look like her, so I need to stop comparing myself. And now what do I need to do to focus on myself and become the best possible me, because I owe that to myself and to, other people in your life, really.
Exactly. No, I just love this mentality that you have. And I feel like we could really discuss this like for hours, because there is like this whole conversation that like even like every girl, like because of how we've grown up, the society that we've grown up, it really is, what we see in the magazines, what we see in TV really does get embedded into our brains. And then you're like, no, like I'm happy with what I look like, but I also don't look like that. Is there an issue there? So we can really go on and on about that. But what I do want to talk to you about as well is that you had your first stint with Impact Wrestling, and then you took some time off. You decided to come back afterwards. What would you say are some of the major differences from then and now?
My confidence, honestly, because the first time I joined Impact, I was already wrestling for 10 years on the independent scene. So when I got invited to come and have this opportunity with Impact, they were still TNA at the time. I was so excited, but I quickly realized how much different TV is than independent. And I was back to like feeling like, oh my gosh, do I even know what I'm doing now? Like maybe I don't know. And I lost so much confidence, and I could tell some of my peers in the back were definitely noticing that. And I think that my confidence then is what actually kind of hurt me when it came time to like, okay, are we going to keep her or whatever? But in a way, I am happy that things worked out the way that they did and just kind of went the way that they did, because I learned a lot about myself and even more who I was. I did a lot of soul searching after they kind of released me the first time. I was obviously upset about it because I was there not quite a year, but in that year, I got to do some amazing things like main event with Gail Kim and win the Knockouts Championship from Gail Kim, who is someone who is a staple in that division and in that company. And I just wouldn't trade for the world the confidence that she had in me to have all these matches, and was comfortable to have this feud with me. And I won the belt, and just the support from Gail alone, like, and that just meant a lot. But I just knew when I got invited back, I was just like, I am going to show them exactly why I deserve to be here. And I could not be happier at Impact. I cannot imagine going anywhere else. That's how happy I am. I love it. I love the women there. I love the locker room. We're like a family, and we have so much creative freedom as well. Like, as far as like, well, if they're like, okay, we want you to do this, I'm like, well, my character would do it more this way. And they're like, okay, that's great. And it's like, good luck.
Even better.
Yeah. Like, good luck getting that anywhere else. Like, I don't know. I have so much loyalty to Impact Wrestling, and I have them to thank for so many things in my career. So I honestly just couldn't be happier.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing this interview with me once again. Guys, do not forget to follow Havok. I will be posting all of her links in the description box below where you guys can go ahead and follow that. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Until next time, I'm Denise Salcedo. This is Havok. We'll see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.